Good morning. Sat enjoying another glorious morning. Sun's out shining over the sea. Really beautiful to walk along in the fresh air. Just wanted a few thoughts this morning, just about being happy. I used to be a person, sometimes I can go back there a few times, at thinking that when I get circumstances in my life right, or when I've got to a certain point in the future, whether that be a week, whether it be a month from now, whether it be a year, I'm always sort of living from this, I'll be happy in the future sort of thing. And I think it's really easy just to put your life on hold if you don't make the choice to be happy now. And there's never a point, I think, when everything is perfect in our life. But you can make choices, I think, to make your life a lot more peaceful, a lot more content. I'm trying to be more conscious of that, I think, on a daily basis. I've certainly found by slowing down, by not being so much in a rush, and I find that I'm able to enjoy life a lot more. Not that I'm by nature a miserable person, but I do find sometimes you can be surrounded by conditions and also by people that we just got this default mode that everything has to be tough and hard and difficult. And I'm not weighing down that if we all go through very, I think, difficult times in our life. But I think I think is more important is not the things that happen to us, but also sometimes the opinions that we form of what's happening to us. So we decide, oh, we're going to be miserable because I'm going through a particular problem. But I started to change that. Just started to think, really, and just, as I say, to slow down. And it's really just given me a much more better mental space. It's nice now to just enjoy the day a lot easier, rather than saying, right, well, when I get this done, and I've got things to do this morning, but if my mind is on my work when I get back, then I'm not going to enjoy this walk right this minute. I'm not going to enjoy the sunshine and just, sit down, and when you pass someone along, say good morning. Those kind of things. I read a quote the other day. It said, if you see someone who's not smiling, give them one of yours. I thought, what a lovely thing that is, because it's not a difficult thing to do. But I think society has just seemed to be pushing us along at such a fast pace, and we just called it normal. It's always normal to be, trying to get somewhere else, trying to get up to a point further along in life. And I don't necessarily think it's always a good thing, because what I find in what's happening to me is that I would arrive at that place and then I would say, it's not enough. So there would be, what I need to do is to create another goal, another purpose, another direction, something else that I need to get my hands on. And when I get there, everything will be all right. And I think it was just an illusion, really. It's not that I don't have things to go for. I'm not just a person that likes to just drift through life and just think, oh, well, whatever will be, will be. No, I believe God's given us all a brain and given us that to use. And there are some things that are outside of our control. But I think it's good that, you can take your thoughts and really start to think about the changes that you can make. But I do really think it starts by slowing down on the inside. It just gives you, first of all, what I found, it just gives you a peace. That not necessarily because everything is just drifting into place, but I think it's brought me to a place on the inside where I think I'm just listening a lot more. Whereas my mind used to be very active, and well, it still is, but I used to just worry about stuff. How's this going to turn out? What's going to happen here? How's this going to, you know, work out in the future? And I've just decided really there are some things I can do, which is watch how I think, watch how I talk to myself. But I think it's also very important, not to worry about so much stuff. And I've done that before, and I've found that when I've stopped worrying, when I've stopped trying to control everything, a lot more things started to fall into place with me not really being a part of it. And it's I found it quite disorientating at first, but it's a really lovely place to be. And it's making me, as I choose to do that every day, to make that choice, that it's making me a lot happier in my choices that I'm making, simply because I've decided, I'm just going to slow down and relax a lot more. And I find that the problems or the things that I do have to face, I find it now that I had faced them with a completely different attitude. So they don't become so overwhelming. But really, I just look at it from a different situation entirely. And it's a much better place mentally to operate from. I can also remember when I was thinking about the subject of happiness, back when I was a young boy, there was an advert on the TV talking about these cigars, and it would say that happiness is a cigar called Hamlet, the mild cigar from Benson and Hedges. And there was this clip where someone was on a golf course trying to get their ball out of the bunker. And we see sand coming over top of the bunker, and then all of a sudden you hear them sort of strike a match, and a puff of smoke comes up. But then the title came up, happiness is a cigar called Hamlet, the mild cigar from Benson and Hedges. And we've all found that not to be true, because happiness, as I see in the sign in the shop somewhere, said that happiness is an inside job. And I think how true that is, because that's where it starts. I found that as I've tried to go after different things in life, but it's, as I say, it's just left me at a place where you get there and you sort of say, well, it's not enough. I can remember when, where I used to live in Luton in Bedfordshire, and I was out driving just in the country a little bit, just outside of Luton. It's on my way to Bedford. Just driving along through the lanes, enjoying the views, enjoying the sunshine. And then all of a sudden I saw in my rearview mirror this Bentley Continental GT come flying around the corner. And it didn't seem like a couple of seconds. It was right on my bumper trying to get past. And I remember looking in my mirror and seeing the woman who was driving the car. And I started to think and thought, well, the fact that you're driving those Bentleys, I've never owned one, but I would imagine that they're beautiful cars to drive. And I remember looking at the woman's face, and she was just a massive frustration. And so I thought, well, maybe she's in a hurry. Maybe, I had to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she's on, trying to get somewhere very quickly, which obviously she was. But then I thought to myself, you probably worked hard to get yourself into a car like that. And rather than just taking your time, waiting until you get a good opportunity to get by me, but rather, as I say, she was one massive frustration. And I just asked myself the question that morning, turned it into a prayer. And I just said, Lord, when is enough enough? When do you arrive at a place in life where you say, I'm content? I've got to this point that I'm really, really happy. And I just learned a lesson really that morning, because when we got through the country lanes and got onto a bit of dual carriageway, she put her foot down, got past me and rocketed down the road at such a speed. But it just really taught me that lesson. Why am I in such a rush? Why am I always giving myself a hard day simply because of the way or the mindset that I'm thinking with. And so it's really helped me. I said in another video, my family, we've moved over to the Isle of Wight. And the one thing that we really, really love here is slower pace of life. And the amazing thing is that when you slow down, you still get all what you need to get done. You just do it at a pace that is lovely. It's really just nice. And it's a lovely, contented feeling. And as I say, it's not because everything in my life is perfect. It's not. But I've just now arrived at this place that I'm trying to be more conscious of, I think, be more aware. Don't be in such a rush to do things. And I think as I bump into different people and have these conversations, it seems that a lot of us are doing the same, which is a lovely thing. I think it's a good thing as, because there's so many things that can come into your life and so much information that we've got available to now that I think it's, we're learning about stuff, we're hearing things going on around the world, and it can really just make you feel quite worried and depressed, but I just, as I say, just got to this point now where I just want to do that, come out for a walk early in the morning, enjoy the sunshine or the rain, but just really the fresh air, just get a nice bit of exercise. And it just really does set you up, I think, puts your mind in the right place. But I think what it is because of really just started to think a little bit different. So that's why I think I'm enjoying the outside a lot more. I think that's where the work starts. We start on the inside first, but then the outside starts to change and get a bit better. So thanks for joining me on my walk this morning. I'm just walking now from Yabberland and then back up to Sandown, where we live up there, and me and my wife, we own a cafe in the Sandown High Street. So we're just going to set up there soon. But I'm not in a rush. I'm just taking my time, just walking along, enjoying the breeze, enjoying the sunshine, the sound of the sea. And thanks very much for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful, worry-free and carefree day. Take care. Bye-bye.